Ladies and gentlemen, big hairy news.
Hey, kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another episode of Big Hairy News. Kia ora, Ems. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm
How are you?
weirdly
How are you, buddy?
ecstatic.
How you going? It's going good?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Cool, man.
That's good. I've been diving into numbers.
Oh,
will be
what
very
kind of
exciting.
numbers? Prime numbers? They're my
employ-
favourite.
It's statistic numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, looking at all the unemployment stuff. So trying to get my head around it, you know.
Well, we've got
Gotta get my facts
Barb Edmonds coming up in just a couple of minutes, going to talk through a bit of that. It's interesting that the government is, well, Nicola Willis seemed to be saying, well, it could have been 5.4, so it's not as bad as it looks, but it's still bad. It's an interesting sort of where they're trying to position themselves to actually say this. And as we know from another one of our financial friends, Craig Rennie, who's got a very interesting podcast coming up tomorrow morning, which is focusing on all these numbers. You know, a year ago when we asked him about unemployment numbers, he basically said in the current economy, you could expect around 4, maybe 4.5%. Anything above that is a conscious decision made by this government. So there you go. That was the word several months ago. And when we asked him about that in the last couple of months, he stands by it. So yeah, that's interesting. Also, everyone gets RUCs. You get RUCs. You get RUCs. Everybody gets road user charges with goodbye to petrol tax. It's if done correctly, it's not the unfairest system in the world. The question is, basically, vehicles that damage the roads more should be charged a higher RUC. And we'll have to see what happens. I heard in one of the stories today that apparently about 70 cents per litre is what goes on petrol tax at the moment. So it should come down by 70 cents a litre. Which works out to be about, and I think you pay about $76 for 1,000 kilometers on an EV for RUCs. So you're paying about $7.60 per 100 kilometers. And if it's 70 cents a litre, an averagely efficient car, like, 10 Ks for every litre, will get about 7. So it seems to be all around those 7. So if that ends up being a similar amount, my understanding is, and this would be a Chewy special tonight if he was with us, because this is the numbers he loves, is that the big trucks don't pay their fair share. And that EVs are being overcharged a bit for what they do. The bigger the truck, the more damage to the roads. The bigger the vehicle, the more they should be paying. So therefore, an EV should be paying more than a lightweight petrol vehicle, because EVs are heavy because they're full of batteries. Little Barina, little sewing machine shouldn't pay as much because they do less damage to the road. So we'll see, as we said all last night, 7 times the devil will be in the detail.
In the detail.
Also, the story that's come out about the kuia from Rotorua, Alan Tamati, and Hobson's pledge using her photo to say vote against Māori wards. It wasn't sold as a big story today. They featured on One News tonight, but then on One News they also mentioned the local Bay of Plenty media outlet that had done a story on it. So I've gone to that outlet. I've got a bunch of the video of that source, and we'll be able to have a deep look at it, because it's pretty revolting. It's pretty revolting. And in the video footage that I've got from, I think it's Okaha, she speaks about her mokokowai and explains how important it is, and actually talks about the left side versus the right side. And so when that gets plastered up on a billboard to say no to Māori wards, sorry, I got to say that properly, no to Maori wards, it's pretty offensive, and even in error, it's pretty offensive. So we'll delve into that a little bit as well. You got anything you want to chuck out there tonight, Ems? Anything? Oh, I also got that one about the Tamaki Makaurau by-election with the alt-right wing conspiracy theorists now being a part of it, which I haven't got queued up to go, but it's in the background. If we go short, we could have a look at that. Anything you've got to chuck out there tonight, Ems? Anything in particular you want to add in?
Oh, but before we jump into the big, I can do I can do fun stuff now, or we can do big scary stuff then fun stuff. I've got a little something for the chat that they might appreciate.
Oh, what is it? A quick one, you mean? Like a quick little shorty before?
Well, it depends how long my computer takes to load, because it's taken a hot minute. So we'll have it as our break between the sad stuff.
All right, and so before we do that, let's just also remind you all that we've got a bit of a special going on at the moment. We have got the hot pink BHN merch. Hot pink being the branding, not the. It could be. I guess it could be one day the actual. The hoodie, couldn't it? There it is there. That's on the Patreons. I talked to the patrons around it. They all said we love it, we want it. So we've got a limited run of BHN hot pink merch. It's a limited run because we only have a certain amount of pink vinyl, and we did another 10 or so today. So we've probably got it. Probably won't go into next week, just purely because of the amount of vinyl we've got for doing the BHN. Obviously, with the vinyl, it means that the OGs are coming back. The red's on. That might be next week, but I would guess you're pretty safe if you order by the end of this week. If you want the shocking pink, the hot pink BHN hoodie or t-shirt, they're there. But if it's something you're really keen, I wouldn't sort of delay, like saying, oh, look at it next week, because we may be out of the product by next week. So bhnshop.nz for that. All right. Anywho, let us start off the show by welcoming to the show from Mana and from Labour. It is Barb Edmonds. Barbara Edmonds, good evening to you.
Talofa lava, everyone. Yes, I am actually in Mana tonight. I'm in Titahi Bay, so it's a very cold night. So thanks for having me on.
No, it's all right. Remember, I'm in Dunedin, so you're not allowed to play cold nights from Mana.
Yeah.
We don't
True,
compete.
true.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I think we asked you this last time, because I always think about Mana as a political party with Honi Harawira. But Mana's going away, isn't it? The actual electorate. It's not going away, but it's being changed. And at the next election, there's going to be no Mana, the electorate. It's going to be absorbed into another. Hey, that's right.
Yeah, we should know later this month the confirmed boundaries for the 26th election. So Mana, Ohariu, and Otaki as electorates are all gone, and they get subsumed into two electorates, which is now Kapiti and Kinapiru. So yeah,
Right.
Mana does change. It's the first time since the electorate of Mana was formed back in the early 90s. So it's a big change for us, but it's one of those things that the electoral commissions had to do because of the numbers.
And are you going to wait till you see the actual boundaries before you and your colleagues decide who's going to go where?
Yeah, and we go through our normal selection process that we do before every election. So for every electorate, even if there's a standing MP, you've got to be selected and stuff like that. So we'll still go through that process.
All right. Thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate you giving us some time. We are talking numbers, and we've got a series of nerds we like to throw out there, and you're one of them, but we mean that in the nicest possible way. So I thought we might do TV3 or Stuff 3 or Get Stuffed with 3 or 3 Get Stuffed or whatever they're called now. They had a slightly more, a bit of a quirky take on this. They kind of focused on the youth unemployment more so than the overall story. So there's more about what's happening with young people in this and less about listening to exactly what Nicola Willis said from her perch. Let's have a quick look at this, and then we'll delve into the numbers.
The job marketplace is incredibly competitive.
Thinking about applying? Haere mai and apply.
IKEA says at least 15,000 people applied for 500 jobs at its new store in Auckland's Sylvia Park.
Think about that. 15,000 for 500. So 14,500 rejection letters, 500 employees. That's there's your anecdotal evidence which points to the real issue anyway. It shows it right there.
Park, the desperation fueled by around 1 in 19 of New Zealand's workforce being on the dole. In Auckland, employment decreased by 23,000.
I've just been released from work, so I'm trying to find a job before I do run out of money.
In the 4th year of his apprenticeship, this young Sparky's already gone for at least 7 jobs in 3 weeks. And how's morale?
Just got to keep high hopes, pretty much. Make sure you keep pushing forward and try to find something,
In fact, young people are more than twice as likely to be unemployed.
So if it comes between a young person and a person with more experience for the same role, then often the experience will be the thing that tips them over. Young people often are often super keen to be given an opportunity to step into employment, and they often bring that enthusiasm and energy, and they often just need to be given a chance.
For some, that's sounding more like fat chance.
These latest stats show that unemployment simply refuses to budge. In fact, it's gone up by 11% annually.
That's 16,000 more people without a job.
I just say to those people that is an incredibly tough experience, that they shouldn't take it personally, because what they are often the victims of is an economy that was mismanaged. I know for those New Zealanders, the message they need to hear is this is going to be better in future.
The government got elected.
Is she saying when Labor takes over, is that her future? I'm just, because she's saying some stage in the future it's going to be better. Is that what she's hinting at when Labor gets back in? I'm just...
Well, if Labor gets back in, just don't take it personally, Nicola Willis.
Yeah, very good, very good.
They need to hear is this is going to be better in future.
The government got elected on a platform that they were going to fix the economy, and clearly they've made things significantly worse. There's 18,000 fewer people working in building and construction today than there were on election day, and the government's decision to cut so many building and construction projects has driven that.
Interest rates have now come down, but it takes some time for firms to take those plans off the shelf and turn them into reality. That's why the government is leaning in to do our bit, why we're kickstarting those $6 billion worth of infrastructure projects before Christmas.
Now that all the tradies have left to start these infrastructure projects, now that there's no one to man them, that's good, eh?
Government fears a recovery will be delayed by the impact of the Trump tariffs, but insists there will be an uptick by then.
It is too soon to say what will happen in the next quarter, but I do expect that unemployment will be coming down later this year.
For 156,000 New Zealanders, a job would probably be the best Christmas present.
There you go, 3 news. And yeah, it was interesting that they focused quite heavily on the youth unemployment. But Barb, you're here with all you're the one with the expert knowledge. Tell us what you saw today in the numbers that came out.
So as much as I do want to talk about the numbers and I'll break them down, just we have to remember behind every number is a person. You know, that's something that is so important that we remember whenever there's lots of different statistics. So you heard in that piece that those young people, there's like around 15,000 fewer 15 to 24-year-olds who are employment than last year. So you heard sort of the framing of that in that 3 News story. Ultimately, unemployment has gone up. That's the major key line that you need to remember, because the number of it's increased to 5 in New Zealand, it's just gone up. That's the most easiest way to explain it. The figures as well for Māori and Pacific still don't look great. So if you think about the national average of 5.2%, Māori unemployment is at 10%, Pacific people unemployment is at 12.1%. Wow. So again, percentages, numbers, hundreds of thousands of people, 15,000 fewer for 15 to 24-year-olds. Again, it's all people that we're talking about. And so the key thing is unemployment has gone up. Christopher Luxon did promise that he would make things better. They have gotten worse. Their plan is not working.
160 odd thousand people, like you say, are people, not just an individual number. That's probably also, 100 to 150,000 households where life is going to be so much more difficult than maybe it was 12, 18, 24, 36 months ago. I just saw a chat go past. I didn't mark it, but it said Trump's tariffs reason for unemployment COVID, all Labor's fault. It's this idea of blaming external pressures now that they seem happy to do, but not giving any credit for external pressures. When it comes down to it, What do we attribute to those international pressures? Because look, I get you. There are some. That's what we've been saying all the way through. The only thing we don't do is allow this government to use the excuse they wouldn't let the last guys use. So that's where we put our line. But there are always going to be international pressures. Things like Trump's tariff and the dollar and what's happening internationally. How much is that impacting the numbers of unemployed today in New Zealand versus just the work of this government or lacking in of that work?
And so there's, as you say, there's always going to be global headwinds. You know, when during our time it was COVID, and the government keeps referring to the tariffs. But when those times are tough, that's when the government should do and can do more to help provide well-paying jobs. So, for example, what they've done in the infrastructure and construction sector by pausing, cancelling, and reviewing government projects, boom. That's why you see 18,000 less construction roles. That's why we see that young person on that 3 News who was an apprenticeship sparky. There is no pipeline for probably his firm or the firm he worked for to keep going, you know, for work to keep going. These are all government decisions. When you pull a handbrake on billion-dollar projects, this is exactly what happens. And I know I've said this a number of times on the show, but it's very plain and simple economics. When the market is failing, that's when the government invests. And that's not what we've seen with this government. And they're continuing to cut the things that would help the economy move.
Pink Chewy, do you want to jump? I did stop for a second when I saw your name. You want to jump in with any thoughts or questions?
Too many questions, too many. So I was looking at some of the numbers because I was curious in all of the different things, and I learned about underemployment, which is even more fascinating because and all the little bits that go into underemployment, the umbrella, and you probably know this better than I do, but you know, underemployment, including unemployed, including the potential workforce, your job seekers, and everything into that. That's at 12%. So
yeah. So
that seems way worse, right?
Yeah. So what underemployment, or another technical word you'll hear a lot, is underutilization. So that effectively is like a broad measure of the spare capacity in the economy. So basically, it's people who want more hours but can't get the jobs or can't get the extra hours. So the numbers are at about 130,000 people. So the percentage that you've said, but it's 130,000 people. So again, there is people who want to work. It's not like they're on the couch and they're playing PlayStation all day, according to the government, or being lazy. They want to work, but there are no jobs for them. And as you saw with the IKEA opening up, you know, 15,000 people applying for a small amount of jobs. Well, it's anecdotal. Well, actually, that's proof because it's from IKEA. But I'm hearing that every single day is huge amounts of applicants for a small amount of jobs. And that's why people go to Australia. And that's why they go to overseas, because the jobs prospects are there, lower unemployment, and you get higher wages.
Yeah. And you'll forgive me for not knowing the name of this, but we're talking to Craig about it this afternoon. You've got the unemployed, you've got the underemployed, and then there's another sector of people that they would work if the work was there, but they may not be actively looking. And I said to Craig, oh, you mean maybe like an at-home mum? Like at-home mums doing at-home mum thing, but would work, but isn't actively seeking. And those numbers, if you add those 3 groups together, are over 400,000, which is humongous.
It's basically the size of Wellington. That's what it is, you know?
Yeah.
So you think about it, that's the size of Wellington. So it's broken that 400,000, which, you know, I've spoken to Craig, you know, it's broken that for the first time in New Zealand's history.
Not to be semantic, but because we know about numbers, does that mean it's the highest it's ever been per capita? Because like, is it the highest percentage? Because obviously we're not going to make 400,000 when you're a population of 3 million. You know what I mean? Like, does that mean it's still higher than it's ever been percentile way as well?
So I don't exactly know whether it's the record, you know, if that's the record that we've had. But the fact that it's broken it for the first time in New Zealand history, based on what Craig said, you know, Craig's a pretty good source of this stuff. And so And for him to have made that analysis, that's a pretty
Yeah.
big, I know who I trust when it comes to numbers, and it's Craig Rennie over Nicola Willis.
Yeah. And look, we're with you on that as well. We just know that when certain politicians come out and they cite numbers, when the percentiles when the numbers, it's always good just to double check. If Winston Peters chucked his toys and called a snap election tomorrow, and by the end of this year there was a Labour-led coalition, what could be done like in the immediate future? So what I guess I'm saying is, if the other lot decided to do it by the end of the year, what could you guys do if you were in there by the end of this year, hypothetically, to turn this around quickly? What has to happen?
It'd be that government investment in those infrastructure projects. So, for example, the government cut back on the housing with Kāinga Ora. In my local area of Mana, in particular Porirua, they've cancelled hundreds of housing jobs straight away. If you turn that tap back on, those construction workers can start working. Those construction workers or infrastructure companies, they then can get other suppliers to supply them the goods that they need. It starts to pick up, that starts to have that ripple effect in the economy, because it's not just the people on the tools, it's the people that supply them the goods, and then the people that supply them the goods, etc., etc. So that would be a really quick thing to help jumpstart, is to basically make sure that those infrastructure projects are underway.
Could we turn that tap back on? I mean, when you've lost 18,000 tradies, would there be the people now here to turn those taps back on?
And that's a really good question, because we've lost 18,000 construction sector roles, right? So that's a question that basically, if the hypothetical, as you say, if everything else falls and we have to come back into government, we need to move really quickly, because we need to stop that brain drain basically to overseas.
You have to make it more attractive for builders to come back to New Zealand than stay on the Gold Coast.
Well, for example, that apprenticeship Sparky that's on there, that was on that news piece that you just shared, there would be a job for him as long as it happened quickly, because there is a clear indication that, well, we're going back to building more homes. We're going back to doing those classroom rebuilds. We're going back to those hospital builds, etc. The government just re-announced a whole bunch of projects a couple of weeks ago that were basically announced, but then funded, but then they stopped it while they decided to review it. So it's a vicious cycle. But that's why, when it comes to infrastructure, why we've taken the position that when we come in, that we're going to honour the contracts as much as possible, because we know that's what leads to losing workers. And we're the Labour Party, Labour and work just go hand in hand. So it's why it's so important that we take that careful step when we come back in.
Emily, what else we got? Anything for Barb?
Yeah, actually, I have more number questions.
Go. Do it.
Okay, so I was looking, this is the labour market statistics snapshot. To be fair, this is the last quarters, but still quite significant. When we're talking about young people, the NEET rate, so that's not an employment or education, there's a total of 34,000 of them, 35,000 of them in the 15 to 19 bracket, for example. No, hang on, that's not the one I wanted to look at. Never mind. There was a stat that I was looking at, and it was something like in the last year was almost 3/4 of the number of the increase. So over 5 years, it was so many thousand, and about 2/3 of that was just from the last year, which seems kind of crazy. Is there any explanation other than the government sucks?
That's the number one explanation. But the second explanation, as well, as you say, it's NEET, so not an employment educational training, right? So if we take Pacific unemployment at 12.1%, there was a program called Tupu Aotearoa, and the government in the budget cut $22 million from that budget over the next 4 years. That particular program was to help NEETs, so Pacific people who are not in employment, education and training, to help them do CV skills, driver's license, partner them with local firms and companies to do sort of work experience, so that training element of it. So there's a very clear correspondence that if you're going to cut support for these work programs and work skill programs, that you're going to have more people not in employment, education and training. It's also a sign of as well is that a lot of the opportunities such as apprenticeship boost, when we had a lot of apprentices, we tried to boost that to help with particularly in the service industry and construction industry. Those numbers have been cut back significantly again. So it all comes down to decisions, and decisions made by people on the 10th floor when they sit around in cabinet tables and make these decisions for budget. It all has a corresponding impact on people, and that's why we believe that their plan is not working. Christopher Luxon has made it worse, and the stats don't lie.
Speaking of stats, I wasn't going crazy. Hey, why can't I put my thing on the screen?
Oh, you got to take mine off. If you've got to hang on, look, see, I removed mine. Now you can do it. Sorry about
there's nothing on there.
Yeah.
Hang on, get rid of that one. This is what I was talking about. The total 86,000. The last year was plus 6,000. For the last 5 years, it was plus 8,000. So that, if I'm not incorrect, that seems kind of crazy. Like a lot of that's coming from the last year, but the net rates are very high.
There's a lot of government investment that's been pulled from the economy, and they've made that choice really clear, so this is what happens when you promise things like tax cuts and you can't afford them and you have to find savings elsewhere.
Speaking of tax cuts, I think there is a very common conversation going on at the moment, because I think Chippy said that we'd know more by the end of this year. Wealth tax or capital gains tax? Anything to share with us on, what's going to happen?
You'll know more by the end of this year.
Don't do that. No one's listening. It's just us three. Just be honest.
I'm sure no one's listening. I know the press
stop
gallery.
The cameras. You can tell us.
Do you have a preference? Even if you don't tell us what it is there a preference? I'll tell you what I said the other night. I like the idea of CGT over wealth tax. CGT seems so much cleaner. It's like when you sell a property, it's good to go. Wealth tax, you might have someone in the same house for another 10 years who's retired that gets kind of a debt on a debt on a debt because they can't afford to pay it, so it gets paid back. So if you're speaking to Chippy, if you're around the table, tell him Pat says CGT, if anything. What do you reckon, Barbara? Is that a good idea, or would you go the other way?
I'll tell Chippy that CGT.
Any thoughts on what the Greens proposed with the wealth tax, where it was if you can't afford it, you kind of pay it retrospectively? Any thoughts on that particular idea?
You mean prospectively, so you pay it later, but over time?
Yes.
Yeah, pay
it. Yeah.
I think with their policy, right, you got to look at, one, what are the unintended consequences? Two, when it's a tax, you got to look at who does the tax fall on, so tax incidents. Three, the administration of the new tax or of a change in the tax. That's a really key thing as well. So if you're going to make people that have, if the Greens, which is I understand their prospective tax for wealth tax, to Chippy's point, sorry, not Chippy, Pat's point, debt on debt on debt. So does interest and penalties apply to that? Because we have an interest and penalties regime for tax here in New Zealand. If you don't pay it on time, you get an interest and possibly use of money interest, and you also get penalties depending on why you didn't pay it on time. So these little things, they're complex when it comes to tax, and there's a whole bunch of things you have to think about. But that's for any tax, not just a wealth tax, for a CGT as well.
So that's what you're currently thinking about, is it? Those sorts of things.
I sort of, what's the word? I don't know what the Pākehā word for it is, or the English saying, but I learnt my trade in tax policy. So that's where I started in tax, was tax policy. So that's how I think about any tax policy, including the stuff that Nats bring forward through Parliament. I think about those different policy considerations.
Yeah, and like a pro CGT government tax policy says what?
Chippy says we will announce it later this year. We'll announce the tax policy later this year. You almost got
coming
me there,
on.
Pat.
Coming on here, right? Coming on here to announce it. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Can we have
Hey, look, but just finally, actually, about that in all seriousness, are there some things maybe even that, not that you've decided, because there's obviously conversations going on at the moment, but from looking at kind of the possibilities of revenue for the government, are we currently missing out on some places that we should be investigating to bring revenue in for the government, for us, for the people?
Like the digital services tax that they removed.
Well, I mean,
from
like, but we could say, yeah, CGT. We could say things like a CGT or a wealth tax without you telling us what you're doing. Like, there's some other areas that are obvious kind of flags that we should be talking about, which could generate more revenue for the country.
Yeah, like the digital services tax proposal that I introduced in a bill in 2023, and then the national government have withdrawn it, and as a result, there was $500 million of revenue that they gave up on in this year's budget. So that was for tech companies, effectively. So
what about
decriminalizing
cannabis? That just seemed to be a slam dunk with that last referendum. $500 million a year would have been in tax alone. I don't know, Anyway. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm actually technically now not trying to trap you. I'm just trying to talk about this. I was trying to trap you before. That's fair. But now I was just more thinking broadly about the conversation. National Party's just had their conference. When are you guys having yours, and where is it?
Usually it's at the end of the year. So normally we have it in November. We had last year in November in Christchurch. I think this year's in Auckland, but don't quote me on that one. That's one for our president, Jill Day, but I'm pretty sure it's in Auckland this year.
All right. Might see you there. I won't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying
It's apparently warmer in Auckland than Dunedin. I don't know.
I don't. Those kind of rumors are filthy and disgusting, and I will not have a bar of it. Hey, Barb, thanks.
It was warmer than Wellington, and when I got home into Wellington today, it was warmer in Wellington than Auckland.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you giving us some time. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on what's happening with the unemployment rate, and love to talk to you again super soon. Cool.
Thank you, ka kite.
All right, Barb. All the best.
Bye.
Nearly got her too. I was trying to think of the Wayne's World way of saying it. A CGT tax supporter says what? I tried just for a second there. I apologize, Fana. I don't really look at the chat. That's normally Chewy's job. So if there's any direct questions here that we've missed, I apologize immediately. This is about the road user charges, which we might do next. JC says road damage is proportional to the fourth power of the axle. So a 2-ton probably car does 16 times damage of a 1 litre car, and a 40-ton truck does, is that like 2.5 million times damage? Right. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that was, forgive me. When Chewy speaks, I very rarely listen, but I think I remember something he said about the proportionally unfair amount that EVs are paying based on the weight compared to like diesel trucks. So it's not a terrible idea, which we'll get to next. It just needs to be done fairly and appropriate. It would be wrong for example, forget whether it's petrol or EV, but for non-business vehicles to be sort of subsidizing these massive trucks on the roads that are carrying goods and making money. That's what I want to see, those kind of details. Kiwi says, poor. What I would say to you is get a job. Yeah, didn't one of them say that last year? Just go out and get a job. It might have been Nicola Willis, actually. Maybe. Don't know. They all blend into one at the end. Every time Willis says she, quote, expects numbers will come down by the end of the year, end quote, the reporter needs to ask why. What makes you think that? Yeah. Someone messaged me in the weekend. I think they were being friendly, but they said that I did the 5-year-old thing quite well of going, but why? I think they were actually being serious, like just asking, but why is actually a pretty good technique. I don't think they were calling me a 5-year-old. Anyway. Andrew says, oh, sorry, Andrew, I didn't look at any of these. Hey, Barb, given the assault on our democracy through disenfranchisement and abusing urgency, will Labor hit back as hard in return to protect us? I'm sorry I missed that question, Andrew, but I do know from speaking to other Labor and Green MPs over the last kind of 6 months, we've asked them all about, using fast tracking powers, and they've all said, there'll be some things that they'll want to remove straight away using that. But Kiwi Bird had the same idea. Team CGT or Team Wealth Tax. Oh gosh, look, I missed a few. I apologise, team. Labor bringing that sense is actually a good question as well. Yeah, I mean, surely. Someone pointed out the other day, what have they just done? They've cancelled something else. They've cancelled the census. the enrollment changes to the enrollment. It's like they are literally wanting to stop counting. There's a couple of things that are the ways that we often keep a track on how many of us there are and that sort of thing. So, yeah. 8 Vesta. Great news. The government delivered ghost ships, and now thanks to Kiwi Exodus, we're well on our way to becoming a ghost country too. And Kiwi Bird, what will come out first? Grand Theft Auto 6 or Labour's budget? Are they only up to 6? I mean,
we've been waiting for 6 for quite some time.
I can remember Grand Theft Auto like, I want to say 20 years ago. So if they're only up to 6, that's, yeah. When did it first come out? I don't know. Like, was it out for the PS1? Holy moly.
I remember the top-down one. That was my favourite.
The which one?
Which is probably like 2. The top-down one. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but it's like you're in a little car and you just go, and then you get out and you shoot and then you get back in the car and it's very, very old. I think it might have been 1. Someone can tell me.
At one stage, this is a complete tangent about video games. At one stage, I was looking at buying one of those old school, stand-up Spaceys machines from from a takeaway bar sort of thing. And there was a group that made, arcade machine. There was a group that made them in New Zealand, and they looked all like that, but they had like 300 games in them. So it was basically a computer, but that screen, it's all been built into and it had all the games that I used to play when I was a kid. There was a game called New Zealand Story. I don't think it was from New Zealand. I don't know why it was called New Zealand Story, but you were a little kind of chicken running around the place. It was, and I remember being able to spend like 50 cents or whatever the game cost back then and being on it for 2 hours. And I just the last couple of days, I just messaged the person that would build them, and I'm assuming build them and sell them. And he says, "Oh no, I don't do that anymore." And I'm like, "Oh crap." I know. It's just like, anyway, tangent. If anyone's got an arcade game out there they want to get rid of, you hit me up. We'll figure you out. Okay. Anything else in the chat there? Oh, here we go. Technically, GTA 4 is 6 and GTA 4 and GTA 7. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Because someone was mentioning San Andreas and the other ones, which
I remember that one.
They're not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're the side ones, I assume.
I just want to see when Grand Theft Auto first came out. Yeah, it came out in 2000. Oh no, Grand Theft Auto 3, 2001.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3 is the sort of the main,
Is that the origin
format
one?
that it is? Well, it's kind of the format, I think, where it went from top down to what it is, Vice City. That's it. What it is now. But the website for 6 is very cool. If you want to go and see some amazing web design.
Can you still like run over people on the sidewalk and get chased by cops and that kind of stuff? That's what it's all about. That's what it used to be all about.
Yes. If you've seen anyone's hacking of number 5, you can do some pretty insane things.
See, New Zealand Story is a game about a yellow chicken. I played it when I was at secondary school. In fact, I used to skip out of my accounting class and play it when I was at secondary school at the takeaways up the road. And I hated the teacher, and the teacher hated me. And they had someone from the board turn up once to observe the classroom. And the person from the board asked where I was because they saw that and went. And one of my mates went, "Oh, I won't say his name. Oh, Mr. So-and-so, remember he's doing that special job for you." Because basically he told me, if you don't want to come back, just don't come back. That's how much he hated me. And so, yeah. Are you looking up New Zealand Story on the screen? Put it up. Go and put it up.
I was curious.
So cool. That is so
Apparently
cool.
There's a DS version of the game, so maybe we could play it one day. There you go.
Yeah.
We know.
Oh, now I feel sad. I feel sad now. I mean, there's lots of things going on with the unemployment in Gaza, but now that I've just seen that, I feel really properly sad. For the first time ever.
Don't be sad. I have something to show you.
Yeah, there you go. That we planned this, Fano. This was a planned link.
Yeah. I'm so good at segues. So very good. As per my name today, which was someone in the chat's incredibly smart name for me. I thought I'd make something to celebrate Pink Chewy. Here you go.
Oh, I like that, even with the beard and the bit around the
There
ears.
you
That's
go.
very cool.
You'll never know.
That's
You'll
very
never know.
cool.
It's not. Can't believe it's not Chewy.
Can't believe it's not Chewy.
So there you go. Something fun I got to do today to cheer you
Yeah.
all up about our shitty
Yeah.
unemployment numbers.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. That's exactly it. That's the game. See you, kid. Have fun.
Oh,
You
it's Sega.
too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was on the but it was on an arcade game. So this was
Yeah.
it looked exactly like that because that's how old I am. And there was all this, you fight arrows and you could turn them. Yeah, man, that was good. Them's were the days when
What a
games
weird
were real.
name.
I know. I never understood it. I don't believe it's got anything to do with New Zealand, other than probably a developer in Japan having an affinity with us and deciding that was a name they could use. He's going all over the place like that because there's secret doors. That's what he was looking for. Yeah, I can always remember the shoes doing the jumpy thing too. Oh, I want to go find an arcade machine now. It's not fair. I don't want to play it on a DS because they're these things.
probably
Whereas
find
standing
a
up
emulator.
and actually playing on a arcade is the way to go. All right, Pit team. I'm depressed for the rest of the show. No, I won't. I won't make jokes about that because there's some serious shit in the world as well. Hey, let's actually have a look at the car stuff, shall we? Hang on, we'll just finish that one. Ah, shit. Here we go again. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Just to wrap up that part. It would be weird to look at a Kuya talking about her mokokawa and then do that, super chat then. It wouldn't kind of fit. Let's have a look at the situation with petrol tax. I'd be keen to hear in the chat what y'all think. As I said, Chewy seems to have been very balanced on this, even when EVs weren't getting charged road user charges. He was like, well, at some stage it has to come in. It came in the month I bought my EV, so I never got to see any of that free stuff. And I'm pretty sure he's often said it seems to be the fair way for everyone to do it. And I'm guessing I'm bowing to his superior knowledge on the understanding that it is then done a fair way. So it is proportional. Let's have a look to what I think the Bish is talking about, a generational change in how we pay fuel or something like that.
The biggest change to how we fund our roading network
Yeah,
in
that.
50 years. That's from Transport Minister Chris Bishop as the government slowly puts its foot down on reforms to replace petrol tax with electronic road user charges on all light vehicles. Currently, Kiwi drivers contribute to the maintenance of our roads through vehicle licences or regos, road user charges and petrol excise duty. Petrol users, for example, paying around 70 cents a litre at the pump. But with more Kiwis getting behind the wheel of electric and hybrid vehicles, Bishop's saying today, as our vehicle fleet changes, so too must the way we fund our roads. No date's been set, but legislation is expected.
Which is a little bit weird. Because yes, our fleet, and I'm not trying to talk down the government here, I'm genuinely not. Our fleet is changing, but we already have road user charges for the part of the fleet that's changing. Like this is only going to impact the part of the fleet that's not changing because it's the petrol vehicles. EVs have already got them, diesels have already got them, trucks have already got them. So we do have a changing way of driving, changing infrastructure or whatever it's called with our vehicles, changing vehicles, but this is already in place for that change. So yeah, okay, I'm genuinely not trying to be dismissive of the government, but that doesn't make sense, that statement.
Expected to be pushed through next year, with the minister saying the new road user system will be as simple as paying your power bill. Abby Wakefield has more.
This Building Nations conference in Wellington is like Coachella.
It's not at all.
But in business attire for New Zealand's infrastructure sector.
This is what gets me up in the morning.
Today's main act, Chris Bishop.
Christopher Bishop Lee needs to know that we never, ever, ever again need to hear what gets him up. Like we just don't need to hear that at any stage ever again.
Announcing the biggest change to
That was the correct face you just pulled, by the way, Emily.
how we fund our roading network in 50 years.
Wellington?
The government will be abolishing petrol tax.
Replacing it with electronic road user charges.
I guess for people who are driving petrol cars, they'll pay a bit less for petrol, but they'll be subject, of course, to the road user charges, which they're not now.
Cabinet's agreed to enable the country's 3.5 million light vehicles to eventually pay for road use, based on distance travelled and vehicle weight, regardless of fuel type. The system will become digital, removing the requirement to display or carry road user charger licences.
We're very supportive of this move. It will make the whole system a lot more fair, a lot easier to manage, and a lot easier for people to comply with.
I'm concerned that the government are proposing to hike up fuel excise straight after the election, 12 cents a litre, at the same time as shifting to road user charges. That could be a real burden for particularly New Zealanders who are struggling with the cost of living at the moment.
Well, he's saying, are they double dipping? If they increase the price of excise tax on fuel, and then they're going to remove what the equivalent of the road user charges would be, and then put it on more. So have they taken, and I'm just making up numbers here, have they taken a total of like 50 cents per litre off, and now they're going to add a dollar per litre, the equivalent of. So yeah, this is always about what the details will be. And that's why we're saying if it's done fairly, when I say fairly, I'm saying accurately to the vehicles, this shouldn't cost anyone anymore. That's the whole point. This should not cost anyone anything more. So if you're paying 70 cents a litre at the moment, then whatever the road user charges should be the equivalent of that. Yeah, and hopefully it's not just another way to find revenue for the holes they've left thanks to landlords' big tobacco and tax cuts, because that could be scary.
Moment.
Well, it's expensive enough as it is, isn't it?
I think it'd be nicer if it was a bit cheaper.
No, I don't think it's fair. It's hard enough as it is.
The uptake of fuel-efficient petrol hybrid vehicles also contributing to the government's move. In 2015, there were 12,000 on our roads, while today there are over 350,000.
Wow. The current system is regressive. Lower-income Kiwis don't necessarily have the option to buy a new fuel-efficient hybrid vehicle. Wealthier folk like me who can afford newer, more efficient...
So he's saying it's going to be cheaper. Right, so we got to remember this, because what he's saying is this will be easier for people who don't have as much money. The only way that can be the case is if it's cheaper. So that's what Bishop's saying here. Their system will be cheaper. So we've got that, and now we need to understand when they do it, if it is or if it isn't. Because obviously
did he just say wealthier people, wealthier Czech people like me?
Wealthier people.
Oh, wealthier. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
I mean, he is a welfare recipient. He gets paid by us, just like someone who's on the... So that's true, but he said wealthier, as in... It's ironic, isn't it? This, just a little tangent here.
I'm wealthy, I'm sorted.
Yeah, the government of big business and the government of no handouts, and that these MPs build their wealth off the public ticket. They build their wealth from being beneficiaries of public money. And what they don't want to do is make that available to other people to build wealth on. We got to screw them down as hard as we can. And the only ones that should be producing that wealth and being rewarded for it are the small and large business owners, whilst they're not small or large business owners. They're welfare check recipients. Just a little tangent there. Sorry.
Is regressive. Lower income Kiwis don't necessarily have the option to buy a new fuel efficient hybrid vehicle. Wealthier folk like me who can afford newer, more efficient cars pay relatively less. As our vehicle fleet changes, so too must the way we fund our roads.
The Minister says payment transactions for the road user charge will be privatised, the system open for business by 2027.
And Abby's with us now live. Abby, tell us what other reaction there's been to the government's announcement today.
Well, Simon, this is a massive announcement, so naturally there's been a lot of reaction to it. Infrastructure New Zealand supports the move, along with the New Zealand Initiative. The National Road Carriers Association says that they broadly support the move, but in terms of those who are against it, the Public Service Association says it risks higher costs for drivers. Here's what they had to say.
Look, this makes no sense. The only winners from this are corporates. The administration charges for road user charges at present are very low. The government should back the public sector to keep on doing this work.
Chris Bishop labelled this as a once-in-a-generation change. He even shared some of his dreams at the conference today. He said that he sees road user charges as just being like an electricity bill. It arrives at the end of the month and you pay for it.
Now, if we stop and think about that, Emily, here's some, not necessarily conspiracy theories, but here are some concerns. How does it arrive at the end of the month like an like a power bill, that implies a centralized area has to have that information. How do they get that information? Do they get that information? And is the reason they're calling it electronic because there's going to also be a infrastructure of cameras and that kind of stuff like you have on some toll roads? Because at the moment, what happens is you look at your odometer, right? Mine's on about 19,500 Ks. And I know that my road user charges are paid up to 20,000 Ks. And I go into the website and I go, I want to pay for another 5,000 Ks. And so the system records me as having paid up to 25,000 and I pay there. But it's not automated. It's not them sending me an invoice of how much I owe. How is the government, or, well, sounds a bit scarier, these guys are saying privatizing this, how is a group going to send a bill to me telling me how far I've driven on these roads? That's a part I don't understand yet. Because that's what they said, yeah, turning it up just like a power bill. Well, the power bill turns up because the power company knows how much power I've used. They send me a bill. What is this entity going to know by how many kilometers I've driven to send me a bill? That seems problematic, unless they've explained it badly, but that seems problematic. Because for me to say this out loud sounds ridiculous. They would need to be tracking every car in New Zealand. Now, I don't think that's possible, but what does it mean? What is the outcome? How are you possibly going to send me a bill telling me how many Ks I've driven? And if I'm just going to be telling you so you can then send me a bill, then that's a step of bureaucracy we don't need, because I tell a computer right now and then I just pay it. So I'm a little bit confused by that, but yeah. What are your thoughts? You much of a driver?
I didn't used to be. We only got our first car 2-ish years ago. I only just bought they're all secondhands, and we pretty much got everyone's secondhand vehicles and then drove them till they died, which is it's good because they were pretty much on their last legs. But when we only just bought our very first car a year ago, actually, after the other one died. So this is the first time I've had to pay things like insurance and fuel and all of that stuff. So it's all very new. But the thing I do like about paying fuel is that you pay as much as you need or much as you can afford, and then you try and make it go for as far as possible. So you don't have to fill up your tank. If you've only got $50, you can fill up $50 and, hopefully that'll get you to where you need to be. You need to get to work that day, maybe you just need to chuck in $10 to get you to work, but you're not. The thing I don't like about power bills, especially at the moment, is that you get to the end of the month and you go, okay, now you owe us $350, and you go, shit, I don't have $350 to give you right now.
Yeah. So you're paying for your tax when you're getting your gas, and then it's paid and gone. Don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the flip side to that is
that's concerning.
I don't even know what fuel cost is. It's somewhere sitting around the 220 to 250 at the moment. That's sort of where it's
hovering here around 240. It's
so you
pretty good.
If you were taking the equivalent of the road user charges off it, you would expect that to drop to 170 immediately. So your $50 is going to get you more fuel, but still it means you have the power bill, quote unquote power bill, coming at the end of the month. I don't know.
There is one small thing that I was like, maybe this is a positive, until they brought up the ruck system. By reducing, it probably wouldn't work because everything else is so expensive, but by reducing fuel costs, you could possibly maybe see people able to have a little bit more in their bank account so that they could start saving for an EV. I highly doubt that because everyone's struggling probably at least $20 in deficit, at least, probably more like $50 to $100 in deficit for some of our most struggling. So I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. But there is, possibly that argument to make, but I think there's better ways to get people on the road with EVs. And I think if they hadn't got rid of the bloody discount that they had, or the refund, whatever, they hadn't got rid of that, we would have seen a hell of a lot more EVs on the road much quicker. And we would have seen an electrified fleet much quicker. And then you could have then brought in your rucks, because it would seem fair at that point. And those who can't afford an EV will stick with the current. But those who have EVs will start paying their fair share.
Well, that's like I said at the start, like they're talking about our fleet changing, and they're right, but these are already in place for the part of the fleet that is changing. So although I've said it 3 times now. This can be done in a fair way, and maybe it is even fairer. It's to how they put it together, which will decide that. Yeah, I don't want to be too much of a conspiracy theorist, but I always want to know what is perhaps the real reason these guys are doing these things.
Well, as soon as I heard the word privatize, I was like, maybe that's the reason. There you go, privatization. No longer the government's problem.
Quirky has said to me, Bish implied that he didn't say the words, just saying he implied that it would be cheaper. You're correct, Quirky, but we all know if someone stands up the front and says this is going to be better for those on lower incomes who can't afford a more expensive car, they're obviously not meaning, so we want more money out of them. They mean, so they'll have to pay less. So you're correct. He didn't literally say the words, it's going to be less. It's more than an implication, though. He's giving us what the result will be. The result of this policy is those on a lower income will find it easier to pay their bills. So I think it's a bit more than applied, but yes, you're right. It's still not the actual words out of his mouth. I put it this way. I think we could hold him to account in a court of law on those words. I think that's enough, because you couldn't imply anything else. You wouldn't imply that those who are on a lower wage are going to be paying more from what he said. We do have some other chats in here as well. Byzantine submission bot. ERUC, I guess that's electronic RUCs, could be charged different rates for a time of day. Well, see, again, though, Byzantine, how do they know?
Yeah.
How do they know?
The amount of tracking that's going to have to happen concerns me quite some.
And then, because this is like, let's just go down this path of playing this conspiracy out. How are they going to know in the middle of rural New Zealand versus, for example, in the middle of urban New Zealand, like places where there's already cameras and red light cameras and cool, understood. In the middle of, I don't know, let's say the Central Plateau in the North Island or Hakone, how are they going to know? So the only way they could be charged different rates of different times if they know where we are when we are. Doesn't that doesn't the go up a little bit on the back of your neck? Because remember why these guys got in as well. These guys got in because apparently the last guy were all George Orwell 1984. That was what the last guys were. And if we're talking about tracking our every movement so they can now charge us road user charges, holy moly. Anyway, that little tangent at the middle of the message there. I did charge different rates, different times of the day, type of road to influence travel, reduce congestion. Still don't trust National to get it right. And I mean, that happens quite often. I know it happens in London and some other major metros that you have a congestion charge. And I don't know this because of Top Gear, that in London there was a road user charge, and if you had an EV or a hybrid, it was zero. And if you had a vehicle, a combustion engine, there was a fee to it at that stage. Because I can remember a story where Jeremy Clarkson drove the world's smallest car, which was only just one, like it was a sewing machine. And the joke he made, well, the point he made was the camera card had no congestion charge because it was a hybrid. Yet the thing he was in, which was like 28 cc, would have to pay a congestion charge. So those are again something that they could work on, but they would be based on cameras in the CBD where you drive in and they're there, and that's not like anywhere in the country at any time.
So they're going to end up paying more for infrastructure instead of admin costs to make that possible. Or what we're all saying and what we're all thinking is they're going to have to start tracking our cars, which means they're also tracking our GPS, which means they can also track our speed. So surveillance state, here we come. It's the only way I can think of it, because you made a good point.
Yeah, but what you're saying would be correct following that line. But I also think what you're saying is impossible. I mean, they've just seen 3.5 million cars.
Yes, but over how many years before the next government scraps it or whatever. But I mean, cars already have, work cars already have it. This car is GPS tracked and is tracking my speed. So there's a lot of cars out there, which I don't know how it works, but they're tracking their speed and stuff too. So, I mean, I don't know. It's the only way I can think of doing it. Unless you've got putting a little meter on your car and it goes track. So little cameras go past and says, "Oh, you spent 300 Kilometers, that's a lot.
The most logical way that they'd do it. I won't even say that they'd do it. I'm not genuinely trying to kick off a conspiracy here. That anyone could do it is to use just cameras. Like if you go on a toll road right now, I know the toll roads in Northland better than anywhere else. You just drive under a camera, it just goes ching ching, takes a photo of your license plate. You then pull off the road and pay there, and then you pay over the phone, or they send you a notice. But then you stop and think, how many cameras would that be through the country? That's the thing where it doesn't feel feasible. So I'm leaning towards it's probably not that. But if they're sending us the bill, if that's how it's going to be, then they need to know how much we've driven. And well, at the moment they haven't said times or roads, but they need to know how much we've driven, how many Ks we've driven. Unless it's going to be like like sometimes you get your power bill and it's estimation. And maybe if you're like, the estimation's way out, so I'm gonna challenge it or something. I don't know. Chewy would know. So we'll find out next Monday. We'll do another one. Road user charges will hurt people who rely on WINS benefits such as supported living payments, retired people on the super pension and unemployment benefit. Yes, I was going to say this before, because what we need with the government, and we said this a lot during the last election when anyone makes a promise for better, the change needs to be meaningful. Because if the change is not meaningful, you can't claim it. Like we were saying things like, well, so therefore if you add $1 onto your $1 billion budget, technically you're paying more this year than next year. And we saw that this year with the government going, oh, rents have dropped. And if they have dropped, it was like $1.50 a week on a $600 rental. So it doesn't make any difference. They can claim it if those numbers are accurate. They can claim it, but it needs to be meaningful. The problem with a lot of people with their budgets at the moment is they are already kind of either going backwards or only just surviving. So if now they've got a $120 a fortnight petrol price rather than $160, that other $40 could very easily disappear on things like food or power. It's not like some people on lower wages are going to be able to take that $40 and put it in the bank for when the road user charges come through. So this needs to make a meaningful difference. Any change needs to make a meaningful difference, or else it becomes, it just becomes nowhere near an effective policy. Like saving $1.50 on $600 a week rent. Okay, that's like a whole cup of coffee a month you'll get back from paying $2,500 in rent. Anyway, if our cars are going to have to use ERUC, will the tax go to the actual road maintenance budget of the road we drive on, or into a slush fund? That's from It's in the Ballot. Thank you for your super chat. Yeah, I guess these are all the questions, aren't they? Daniel says they already know our vehicle use from the 5G, Bill Gates vaccine chips in our bodies. Yeah, fair enough. Guess you got us. Kathy says fuel tax is highly enforceable. Can't drive without it. People will find a way around paying RUC. They can't track us all. That's
what I'm thinking. A bunch of people have said a bunch of things that I haven't even thought of. But like, what if you just take a back road? How do they track that? How many cars? When does it start? When does it finish? How do they know how many Ks you did outside of the city? There's just so many questions. They're going to put chips in our car.
And that's why it feels so stupid that this government's coming out going, well, you won't have to carry around a passport anymore. They didn't use that word. But at the moment, like I got pulled over not long ago, and the police officer said to me, he put his light on my rego. There's like a rego and an RUC on my car, and it says on that RUC how many Ks I've paid for. And then he came back around to talk to me and he said, show me your odometer. And it was done. Like he could see what the odometer was and he could see what I'd paid for, and it was done. So I guess what I'm saying is that system works fine. If the police are still going to pull you over for a speeding ticket or something, they're going to check your RUCs. It's a part of, you know what I mean?
The same as they check your warrant of fitness. Although I did learn, apparently the card, you don't even need the card anymore because they have your license plates. They just look it up.
So they already are.
But that's tied to your license. That's your license plate though, because you pay warrant of fitness and all that on your license plate. So there's a lot of questions. I'm curious to see what they come up with.
My gut says when he talks about it's going to be electronic, he's just talking about the license plate and the number of K. So when the police pulls you over, like your warrant of fitness, he'll be able to look up your car. It'll say how many Ks you paid for, and then he'll say at the window, show you me your odometer. I mean, other than a massive Orwellian conspiracy theory, that's the only way that I can see it working. Anything other than that is like
So it's
mass
just another way
surveillance.
to find poor people. Is that it? Or people that don't
Maybe.
understand the administration part of it? Like
Maybe.
there's too many things missing, in my opinion.
'Cause, I mean, these things are all valid. A device attached to odometer to track usage. Yeah, but again, 3.5 million devices. I mean, that would take a
Maybe
decade
it's-
to put in place.
Exactly. Maybe it's just like as cars come to the country, they get fitted, but then maybe people then don't import new cars. Like I don't know.
All right. Hey, let's roll into the next story while we're in this mood. I put this tweet out today. I don't know if you can see that. I've got a new hashtag. The hashtag is #WrongNanBro. This comes out of the story of, I think it's Alan Tamati, courier from the Bay of Plenty, who Hobson's Pledge are using in their anti-Māori advertising. Now, I will point out when this comes up, but I encourage you, if you want to use any of this information, #WrongNanBro is a perfect hashtag to start talking more about this story. Let's have a look at the one news story to start off with, and then I've got a bunch of video to show you from, I think it's Okaha, the outlet in Rotorua where TVNZ got their story from. But this is just about a 60-second sort of summary of the story.
Back here, Hobson's Pledge says it'll personally apologise to a Rotorua queer after her image was used in political billboards urging voters to vote against Māori wards. Ellen Tamati told Māori news provider Okaha she was devastated to find that she had been used on billboards across the country, with her entire whānau intending to vote for Māori wards.
But you've got my moko kawaii on display like this. It's not meant to be like this.
Well, we bought the photograph from a regular photography supplier, and we assumed, therefore, that we had the rights to use it.
But Don Brash says Hobson's Pledge will still contact Ellen Tamati to apologise.
Oh, that's good of them. You know, we offended you like no other. And I don't know about you, Pink Chewy, but because I'm not Māori, I don't fully understand the significance of how it would feel to have, for example, your life story that you carry in your moko put out there in this sort of way. So I just want to acknowledge that I don't understand it. I understand it, but I can't understand it from my own sort of experience. Like I can understand it academically, but not from experience. Did I say all that? You know what I'm saying. This is the part of, this is Okaha. This is on Facebook if you want to check them out, Okaha News. And this is an 11-minute conversation. And if you want to, shed a few tears and be heartbroken by this evil corporation spreading anti-Māori propaganda using this lady to do it, go and have a look at the full 11 minutes of Kaha News on Facebook. I'm just going to give you the first 60 seconds because she gives an understanding of what her moko actually stands for and what it is, and then think about that being put out as a way to tell New Zealand, don't vote for Māori wards.
Auntie Morena, Anahira Morena. This morning you've woken up with your face across billboards opposing the Māori wards, Auntie, Māori ward referendum. How do you feel?
Devastated, not me. My moko kawaii represents, on my right side is my Te Aroha waka, and my left side is my Mātātua waka. So this means more to me than what they're trying to say.
Yeah, so that, like I said, you should go and watch that. It's a full 11 minutes. I've watched it. What I've also done is taken a few of the shut that down. It's all right. Oh, my mouse has stopped working. That's good. Yeah, my mouse has officially stopped. Oh, there we go. Has my mouse stopped working? Oh, there we go. I'll go through and play some of the clips. This is the Okaha story, where the audio quality is a bit better, and they talk more about it. And I just wanted to play for us what this actually means to this community. And she talks about the significance in this again of her moko kawai. To do with her children, because her children and her mokopuna is a part of it. It's been designed into it, and now her literally means her mokopuna is on this billboard saying, "Don't vote for the Māori ward." So you know, it's pretty horrific. Sorry, shut that one down. Okay, let's have a look at this clip. It's minute 16.
Still hurt, still angry. Bloody traumatizing.
E tangi ngā tahi ana, Alan Tamati, rāua ko tana mokopuna, āna he raparata, te kite I tōna mata, ki ngā papapānui o Hobson's Pledge.
But you've got my moko kawai on display like this. It's not meant to be like this. You've got my moko puna tūrua.
I feel angry. My nan shouldn't have to feel like this. She was already brought up in that generation that got real beaten out of them. And now she's having to go through this when all she does is fight for Māori. And they're using her image against her to promote an opposite view. I'm angry.
I've got a couple other clips as well. This is a bit more of her whānau. Now, everyone's calling her auntie. We know within whānau that might be blood relation, that might not be, so not entirely sure if it's blood relation or not, but her kids, her grandkids, her whānau are around her, and this is them, or one in particular, kind of responding to what's going on at the moment.
That's my nan. That's not what she is. That's not who she is. That's not what she stands for. And I was researching, trying to figure out how we can stop it, because I knew my nan was asleep and she wasn't going to see it until she woke up. And I knew it was going to be my mind for her, so I needed to find out how to stop it, because I don't like seeing my nan like this.
And we've got one more clip for you as well. There's a really powerful lesson for everyone in this, and I want you to listen out for wrong nan bro, because this is the hashtag coming up here, the wrong nan bro hashtag. But also the lady on the right says something very powerful at the end, which is the way to get around all this bullshit, and that is to vote. So even amongst all of this that's going on at the moment, this community is still saying the way we win this, well, I'm paraphrasing, the way that you win this is to get out there and vote. So listen out for that wrong nan bro, and this again is just a wrap up of this conversation.
Miss with the wrong auntie, nan, Bessie, queer. How can people do that?
You chose the wrong nan to pick on. She's got so many mokos that love her and a whole iwi that backs her. Wrong nan, bro. Hasn't she been through enough? Has our people not been through enough? We have to wrongly obtain the images and use them to promote your stupid, to put it nicely, message everywhere. When is enough enough?
They didn't ask for my permission, no.
Make sure you're enrolled. Vote. Get out there.
Yep. Make sure you're enrolled, vote, get out there. I mean, it's that one, well, this government might be trying to stop it, but that one sort of democratic, constitutional, you might say, right, that we all have that this government's trying to take away. So make sure you're enrolled, make sure you vote was the message coming out of that. That's all the video I've got on that, Ems, if you've got any thoughts.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look at the original article to see where the photo might have come from. All I can see, it apparently came from iStock or it was on Shutterstock as well. But it is in their content license agreement that there's no political campaign. It may not be used. Well, no music may be used for political campaigns. So, yeah, there definitely are restricted uses in what you can use it for. But either which way, pretty dick move to use. Someone mentioned what if they, you know, perhaps put my face on a KKK propaganda poster. I'd be fucking pissed. But even that doesn't equate to it, because it would be more likely that if it was a black person promoting the KKK, that's how bad that is, because you've put someone on there and saying no to Māori, someone who is Māori against Māori wards, which they're not. So I don't know how I would feel, but I can understand that she's pretty devastated by it. But yeah, who takes the blame, or if anyone has held accountable, I don't know.
Well, it would be interesting, and you bring it up, who and where is storing this image that then has the right to sell it? Like, has Alan accidentally given rights to that away? You know, did someone take a photo of that at an event, and did they say, can we use this for stuff in the future, and she said yes and signed something? But you know, it's really funny, because I know we talked about AI not long ago, and I got a little bit of pushback from some people. This feels like if you want to do some kind of anti-Māori campaign, maybe you should use AI to generate a Māori face, if that's what you're going to do, that doesn't exist, or a line of moko that doesn't exist to any iwi, because what did you think was going to happen? Like, let's ask that question of Hobson's Pledge. You're putting a real person's face up there, like with their moko showing, having any inkling. Maybe it goes to show that these guys don't have any inkling of New Zealand culture, that they didn't think, hey, what's going to happen when we put this real life person up there on this billboard promoting a non-Māori / anti-Māori agenda. It just screams of idiocy to me, and insensitivity, and these kind of stories come up, and I kind of go, I don't want to live in a country that has the litigious nature like America does, but these kind of stories happen, and I kind of go, man, there's compensation due here. There is some kind of compensation due here, and it's more than just a fucking phone call from Don Brash. Please, that's a punishment. Some kind of compensation would be the opposite of a phone call from Don Brash. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Kiwi says here, moko kowai is equivalent to a family crest. It's a reflection of your ancestors, your family, and your identity. Hobson's Pledge are disgusting. I like how Kiwi could have sent this message any night and left off those first 3.5 lines, and it just says Hobson's Pledge are disgusting, and it would have been as valid on any other night as well. Any more thoughts? You got any more thinks around that, Pink Chewy?
Yeah, no, I would hope that there is some compensation, but the damage is already done a little bit. That's pretty devastating for her, clearly. So
it's funny because Europeans don't seem to have anything like that they hold on to, that like that special in their lives. About as close as I've ever got to it when I've had conversations on Talkback to a predominantly white audience, when they talk about, this road had to get moved because of a taniwha sort of thing. I'd say, well, if it was going through a graveyard with Anzac soldiers, are you okay for it to get moved then? Oh, yep. Of course, I shouldn't do that. It's about the only thing I've ever found Anzac soldiers for a European New Zealander that has anywhere near the same kind of reverence as to, Indigenous culture and what they hold closely to. That, I don't think those who aren't Māori can understand. So, but the Anzac soldiers seems to be one that some of them hold on to pretty tightly. But other than that, It's just, and if you can't understand, like, this is the ridiculous thing about cultural advisors and DEI stuff. It's like, this is the time you want to be informed. This would be the time to have a cultural advisor. This would be a time to have someone in an organization. I don't know if anyone would want to be in an organization like Hobson's Pledge as a cultural advisor, but to actually, this is the time to use them. For no other reason, so you don't have this egg on your face, this PR fuck up that you have to then go fix up, if for no other reason. But yeah, I don't know. Ridiculous. Tiffany says, when I call for revolution against the system, not Pākehā, but the system, this is why, tip of the iceberg here, the system is not for Māori. Yeah. And I think most honest and sensible people can understand about revolution not being an attack on individuals, but on the system, which in and of itself needs to get torn down from time to time to get rebuilt. It's like putting a queer face on a conversion therapy ad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's again, without being part of that community, I can see how that would be fairly offensive to the face that's up there. Tane says, how would you feel if some organization made you the face of the KKK, ruining your friendships, family relationships, job chances, and reputation? And reputation means a lot up north. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess because of the news story, everyone will know that she is no part of this, doesn't want a part of this. But still, someone who hasn't seen all the noise just sees Auntie up there and doesn't have all the background is like, maybe they've changed their opinion on the person.
Yeah, there's a good chance that she may never have seen that either, or anyone connected to her may not have seen it, depending on where they put the ad and which area. I kind of doubt it because of the connected nature of Māori, but especially up north, as I was saying. But it does make me wonder that may never have been picked up by the right people and could have gone on for way longer, right?
Well, if you watch the 11-minute interview, she talks about it in there, because obviously her, and I'm going to say granddaughter, I don't know if it's technically correct, but she called her Nan, so her whānau member there, who looked like a granddaughter, said that she wanted to get it sorted out before Nan woke up. But when they asked Nan the question of how you found out, she said, my phone started ringing at 1:30 in the morning. So someone had seen it, one of her extended family, whānau, had seen it, and they were calling her. So what kind of phone call, Ems, do you get at 1:30 in the morning? It's typically the most serious of phone calls. So
usually not a good one.
Someone considered this in the nature of that kind of seriousness to wake up an elderly relative at 1:30 in the morning to let them know what was going on. So yeah. Technically you're right. If it was in Te Anau, some little settlement in the bottom, western side of the South Island, maybe no one would have seen it. But obviously Hobson, that wouldn't have been Hobson Pledges. What they want to do, they want everyone to see it. So if the idea of advertising is for everyone to see,
it would have been a very different kind of backlash in the southern areas. It would have been a, how dare you put a Māori face on a billboard like that and show us, we're farmers, we don't want to see that sort of shit down here. So
Overred Rover says trying to diminish mana, enhanced instead. Yeah, there you go. That's true. The support that's come out. Okay, let's there's a couple of other comments here from the conversation around EVs and road user charges. Lee says drivers need to install trackers at their own cost. It reads distance traveled from the car's ECU. It's uploaded via an app. I mean, I know what you're going to say to me. It just doesn't feel like that's possible. Am I being a bit too Pollyanna, perhaps? Export says when you get a WAF, device could be fitted.
Yeah.
Peter says Denmark is bringing in a law to give people copyright to their own features to protect people in deep fakes. We should follow suit in New Zealand. I started a company. Oh, no, I didn't. That's a lie. I had this idea to start a company once, and the company was going, and like it's irrelevant now, so I can give the story away. My idea was based around celebrities in like London and Los Angeles and New York getting paparazzi'd. And I was like, if I thought, could I start a business and I buy the likeness of, let's say it's Hugh Grant. I purchase Hugh Grant's likeness off Hugh Grant for $1. Then I control it. Then anytime he gets paparazzi and these images go up, I say, I own that intellectual property. Here's the contract, take it down. Or I sue. And it's kind of, it makes me think about that. And obviously Hugh Grant is my client. So I'm not trying to make money off it. I'm doing the opposite. I'm using the rights to his image to stop his image being used.
It almost sounds like a YouTube management company, because they do the same thing. They call copyright on behalf of other YouTube creators or original posters of the content. So it's kind of similar.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up as well, because people may notice last week. Did you do Thursday night? Did we do South Park together? Or was that a different night?
What did I do? Did I get in
Oh,
trouble
no,
again?
it was the week before. No. We got taken down because I talked to you that Friday night about being a bit careful, but then we were on the Monday night. That's right, me and Chu were on the Monday night, and South Park had uploaded a whole bunch of stuff to their YouTube channel. So I used a bit more of it on that Monday night, and it all got taken down, but I just challenged them and they released it. So it's whether, because it's fair use. I mean, the attack on Trump was one of the biggest news stories in the world. So they could have chosen not to release it, but technically it's whether you want to risk the technicality. Technically, we used it as a part of a news story. And one of my arguments to them was part of the footage of South Park that we showed was playing on CNN. So we showed a CNN clip who was showing a South Park clip. If you take our video down, why is theirs still up? And so they released it.
And also, don't copyright us for using CNN's content.
Well,
Tell them.
But it's fair use. I mean, when I spoke to TVNZ, when TVNZ had a crack at us and got us kicked off YouTube, they said to us, well, they consider it fair use to do what we do with the video from the news, where we play a bit, talk, and play a bit and talk. But when we were showing their full debates with side commentary, that was the line for them. And if you watch there's a song out there by an artist called Ren, called High Ren. I cry every single time I watch this song, High Ren. If you've never seen it, go watch it. If you've had troubles in mental health, it'll impact you even more.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Have you
talked about it before?
Yeah, I think I probably have. And I was watching, I probably watch that once a month, because one of the best things about that song is watching people watch that song on YouTube, like people doing reactions to it and going, oh my God, I see what's happening in this song now. And there was a commentator I saw the other day who was watching it, and they said, look, for the people who are going to write in the comments, stop interrupting, this is a reaction video. The copyright says we have to interrupt it, or else we're just broadcasting someone else's content. So actually what we do, I think, cutting in and out and speaking into these stories and stuff, is not that we've ever done it on purpose. Like, it's not been an objective, but if we didn't do that, we'd just be broadcasting someone else's content. So you have to kind of do that when you're doing a review or a commentary show. That's sort of what it is. Yeah, look, people know Ren. There we go. Ren is GOAT.
I'm gonna fix my window. It's open.
Yeah. Yep. If people haven't seen that, it's called High Ren. It's amazing. I don't know if I've ever seen it I don't know if I've ever watched the original, actually, to be really honest. This is it here. I'm going to turn it down so I don't have to fight someone for fair use. I won't play it, but this is that's all I'll do. Oh, pause. That's all I'll do. This is the High Ren. This is the start of the music video, and it's 9 minutes long, and it's amazing. As I said, if you know someone or you are someone who's ever had mental health struggles or illness struggles, it'll get you even better. And it's a song that's recorded and sung live. He's got a lapel mic on, so he's doing it all live. He's not mouthing it. It's been recorded live during the actual song. Oh, really? Here we go. Big Olby says that he doesn't copyright his songs on YouTube. Well, then we'll be fine with showing that.
I learned someone else also doesn't copyright their content, but I can't tell you who. Oh, Baby No Money. Or BB.
Who?
BB No Money. BBNO $. BB No Money. Apparently, all of his music is fair use as well.
You sounded
Unless
like BB-8.
it's a collab.
You sounded like BB-8 or R2-D2 then. BB No Money.
BB No Money.
All
I
right.
keep calling him BB No Money. It's Baby No Money, but kids these days.
I think we're done. Yeah, these kids with all their dyed hair and,
Hey, I'm close to. Wait, actually, am I? Somewhere in the middle.
So, guys, this is us for the night. Thanks for jumping in, Ems. I sent Bomber a message today, and I said, Bomber, Chewy's off for the week. Do you want to come join us tomorrow night, do a co-host? And Bomber sent me that. So I'm assuming that means Bomber's in for tomorrow night. That's what I got. So there you go. It either meant that, or maybe he meant to send that one, and he accidentally sent that one. So thank you for jumping in for a couple of nights. And my expectation is Bomber's here tomorrow night for the show. And thank you to Barb for joining us tonight as well. Is there anything you want to share with the whānau? Well, I now have to go and find the outro music because I don't know where it is on my screen. For some reason, it's moved.
No.
There's nothing. We'll just sit here in silence while I find it. Is that what you're
Well, I
thinking?
mean, if I have to think of something, you were speaking of if you've ever been depressed, watch this video, make you cry. It was a series actually I watched this year that was probably definitely on my top of my list to recommend people. I watched it a while ago. Ginny and Georgia. It's on Netflix. First couple of seasons is great, but there is one particular character in that has probably the most real representation of adolescent depression I've ever seen. Like the series itself is like drama and teens and all that sort of stuff, but that particular storyline is probably the best written I've ever seen. Just really realistic of the like teen experience of just like being depressed and suicidal for no reason, just having really negative view of yourself, and then addiction stuff as well. So highly recommend going and watching that. Very good series.
I know it's only Wednesday.
Yes,
You're a couple of nights away. But is anything happening on Friday you want to tell us about? Or is that still all to be discovered?
Having someone on, I think one of the candidates for Wellington Mayor.
Oh, nice.
Is coming to join us that
Nice.
Magenta has put together for us. So
Not stalked.
That'll be
Put together. That's a
exciting.
much better way of saying it.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, let's head off into the deep blue yonder with a real. Speaking of Ren, this is a real banger, and me and Bomber will see you tomorrow night from 9 p.m.
Oh, you got your echo cancellation on, Pat. Fix it for you.
I don't have my echo cancellation on.
Because I just fixed it for you.
Oh, thank you. Well done, Kiwi. Wrong nan, bro. Hashtag not wrong nan, bro. Get it out there. Get it trending. I think that's what the kids say. Nothing else to share. Anything you want to leave the whānau with there, Pink Chewy?
No, just go and enjoy a lovely hot drink and send yourself into a beautiful sleep.
There you go. Except for me, I've got editing to do, so I'll do that.
Apart from Pat, it's all right. And I got TV
All
to
right,
watch,
team.
so you know.
Catch you tomorrow night for the next edition of Big Hairy News. Hooroo.
Jenny.